Good morning. Happy Father's Day. I am Kaet Barron. If you don't know who my dad is, I highly encourage you to get out your cell phones and Google Inspector Gadget, the cartoon from the 80s. You will find that they have very striking similarities. So much so that in college, I would just put the address on the letter and then just tape a picture of Inspector Gadget to him. Things I learned from my dad. One, how to drive. That's why I know I'm a much better driver than my husband. Two, how to dress. I may have hated it at 16, but I now find myself wanting to send a lot of teenage girls back to their room to go change. Every morning as I came out, there were two tests. The first, bend over. If there was skin, go change. Second, if there was skin, go change. And I was so gracious as a teenager, and I would just say, okay, Dad. How to put on makeup. Really, I think my mom taught me this, but the reason why she taught me was because she said the key to wearing makeup was for no one to know that you were wearing makeup. So if I could get past my dad and out the door without him making me go scrub my face, I knew I had done well. 4, how to argue. The loudest always wins. 5, there are girls the boys marry, and there are girls the boys date. In his own version of a pep talk plea for abstinence, Dad assured me that it was a very good thing that boys weren't banging down my door in high school. Integrity is the best promotional tool. All of my dad's businesses have been built from the ground up by being a man of his word and telling the truth, even if that means that you should take your car to another shop. Integrity will get you much further than being the cheapest, the fastest, or the best BSer. Number 7, protect yourself and your health. Lots of doctors will advise you to wear sunscreen and to have frequent checkups to avoid getting cancer. My dad told us not to use a cell phone. Don't stand in front of a microwave when it's on, and don't place your phone near your head when you're sleeping, because that will all give you cancer too. I often find myself, if I'm standing in front of a microwave, thinking, oh my gosh, my dad would think I'm suicidal right now. Number 8, anything a boy can do, you can do, and you will. I wanted a cell phone. Now, for those of you who are younger, I didn't grow up with cell phones. I know that's hard to believe. A lot of us did not. Cell phones were getting kind of big in high school, and they were kind of big too. So it was not something that everybody had. But I wanted a cell phone. My rationale was that I was going to be driving, and if something happened to my car, I would need to be able to contact someone. So instead, he taught me how to change a tire, so I didn't need to call anyone. I wanted to read a magazine. I got to go watch and learn how to change my own oil. I wanted to lay out in a hammock. I got to mow the lawn, or hammer a nail, or pick up leaves and tree branches, or fix up a house in the middle of the projects, because that's what we did on the weekends. There's nothing to fear but fear itself, and snakes. I learned how to drive with a U-Haul moving truck. My dad picked me up, got me in the driver's seat, and said, go. Big trucks don't scare me. The first place my dad made me drive after I had my car accident was back to the site itself. Through tears, he made me go back. I never had a chance to avoid it the rest of my life. And you can yell and you can scream. You're not going to scare me. Number 10, how to drive a stick shift. Little did Ned know that I was eager because Cosmo said that men found women who drove stick shifts sexy. He thought I was learning to appreciate his love for cars and that it was a good skill to have. We were both right. Number 11, going on a drive means going for a talk. And much to her chagrin, my mother still has no idea what went on during those hour-long drives. But I know that there is little that cannot be solved by a deserted picnic bench. My dad would frequently say we were going for a drive. He would take me to some random picnic bench, and we would have heart-to-hearts where I could not run away. Number 12, it is never too late to pick up a new hobby. After 30-something years of never seeing my dad read much more than a newspaper, he suddenly became a bookworm. And now he's a race car driver. Although stories from his teenage years in Connecticut make me think that he did have some drag racing experience before all this. Number 13, crying doesn't solve anything. Some girls can get away with murder if they cry in front of their daddies. Crying only made my dad angrier. Although as I've gotten older, I've learned that I think it makes him angry because he is a sucker for it. And one thing my dad does not like more than crying is being a sucker. Number 14, how to spell. Occasionally, Dad would join in on Mom helping me study for spelling test. She would quiz us, and my dad and I would compete against each other. I beat him once when he incorrectly, and I correctly, spelled dinosaur. I have found my motivation to learn how to spell. S-P-E-L-L, spell. Number 15, sometimes you go without so you can have it all. While my friends were going to Disney World and living in huge houses, we took trips to see family, and I gave up my potential playroom for his mother to live with us. But my brother and I graduated without any student loan debt, and now my mom and dad are traveling all over, purchasing amusement park rides for their grandchildren and anything else they may want. While my friends' parents are hanging out in their huge, still decorated like it's from the 80s house, looking at photos of their old trips. And finally, there's no such thing as being too white. If a 70-year-old man can still be gangster and down with it, so can I. My dad is very good at embarrassing me. There are lots of stories that I could tell about him embarrassing me. But he's also really good for a good ribbing as well. And so when my friends and I would mock him and tell him he was old, he would remind us that he was metrosexual before it was cool, and that he still knew how to get down with it. I really like symbolism. If I'm watching a movie and people are having a really great time, and then a snow globe drops and breaks, I know I'm in for a treat. I like it when things connect and things make sense. So I have two fathers. I have my heavenly father and my earthly father. Dad, you're the second one. My God and my Father are both loving and compassionate. There have been many times when I've been difficult to love, many times when I have not loved myself. But through all of those times, my fathers have stood by and loved me hard and steadfast. Getting married was very difficult. Or I guess I should say that planning a wedding with my father was very difficult. Leading up to the big day, we had to keep adding chairs and tables to our rental because every time my dad ran into someone, he invited them to our wedding. It was annoying. But it makes me smile to think back at how proud my dad was that he wanted everyone to celebrate with us, like over 500 people. My dad has taken in many people over the years, young boys that have worked at his shop, people in need of a job, or even a place to stay. He serves in any way he can and believes in second chances. And I, for one, am very grateful to have been a recipient of his second, third, fourth, 15th, 32nd chances. One of my core memories is being pregnant with my first daughter, Drew. Throughout the whole pregnancy, Dad was very nonchalant. He wasn't excited when we told him I was pregnant. He said, I'm too young to be a grandfather. I don't get all these people going crazy over their grandkids. Said it wasn't a big deal. He even said that he wasn't going to come to the hospital. It'll just be busy. I'll just wait till everything calms down. I'll see you when you get home. But he did come to the hospital when Drew was born. And when he was handed Drew, you could just see it. I think it was the first time I have ever seen my dad hold a baby. And you could see it. The look on his face, he was toast. Now his backyard is filled with amusement park rides, a play set from Sam's Club that Drew pointed to and said, I want that. And he immediately went and bought it. I don't remember. Oh, the pharmacist at Walgreens told me once that my dad thought I was too hard on my children. And let me tell you a story about my dad on Sunday mornings. So we would go to church. It was my brother, my dad, and I. We would go to church, and then my brother and I would have to go to Sunday school, and he would leave. And he would go pick up my mom, and they would pick us up from Sunday school with donuts. And then we would go clean the car. And if it took more than one round of quarters to clean the car, the donuts got thrown away. But I was too hard on my children. I don't remember, but I like to think that my dad had a similar look on his face when I was born. He probably didn't. Everyone in my family is very quick to remind me that I was the ugliest baby they had ever seen. And my dad had been at the bar prior to my birth. So he'll say that I look like an alien with a big head, a big mouth, and big eyes, and a toothpick for a body. But in my mind, when I look back, he became toast, and he's been toast ever since. My fathers are my providers. Yes, of food and shelter and clothing, but also of peace and hope. God has provided me with so many gifts and guidance and answers. There's a still soft voice in my head that guides me and comforts me. It's a voice that I look to and I listen for. And then there's also a not so still, not so soft voice with the twang of a northern accent saying, the two of you. And though it often kills me to admit it, that voice is my father, and he is often my inspiration for guidance and answers. His struggles are very similar to my own. Being able to say no, taking a break, slowing down, accepting help, fighting off admirers. In ways he will never know, my dad has given me so much guidance in my life. And I know that in many ways that I will never know and I will never understand, God has done the same for me. They are my protectors. God has protected me and offered me guidance and safety. There are many times when I have to look back and make my own conclusion of God providing for me. I applied for so many jobs and was the final two many times. But for months, I was not the chosen one to become a school counselor. When I finally did, I know that God was making me wait for the perfect school and the perfect people and the perfect place. God was protecting me, and he was guiding me. It would be very easy to say it was a coincidence, but I had to make the choice and say, no, that was God. I've always had to make a decision to acknowledge when God has been protecting me. A boyfriend broke up with me on a birthday after several years together. I left work, came home, and all my stuff was in boxes. A few days later, a friend of ours called me and said, I have someone I want you to meet. And I told her that I would agree to go on a blind date as long as she made sure my ex found out. The blind date ended up being with Kaet Barron, the man I would eventually marry. My boyfriend breaking up with me was the best gift he could give me because it opened up my door for the person I was going to marry. I could claim it was a coincidence, but I also know it was God protecting me. And my dad has done the same. He was never the one to greet boyfriends with a gun on the front porch, maybe because I was the girl that boys don't date. But he's always been the first to take me aside or to a picnic bench to tell me he's worried about a path I'm going down or that he thinks I should readjust. He did take me to the side of my accident. He wasn't going to let me be scared. When I struggled to remember to center the car in the lane as versus myself, he took me to Anchorage, where there are very thin roads and mailboxes. And he said, every mailbox you hit, you have to pay for, and any damage to my truck, you'll have to pay for. Learn to center the car. He took me out to LA in high school in hopes of scaring me away from my dream to move out to LA after graduation and be a movie star. But he also drove me to my first audition and to every day of theater camp. I left a job I felt undervalued and underappreciated in to become a school counselor. When I won School Counselor of the Year and shared the news on social media, my dad made sure to respond to each comment from certain previous coworkers about how when people are valued, they shine, and he knew I was destined for greater things than my last job. He helped Adam cover up the fact that the suits for our wedding were wrong the day before our wedding, and they only told me after the problem had been fixed and we had returned from our honeymoon. I'm not sure if that was him protecting me or the suit rental place, but he protected me. They are my disciplinarians. I have learned and will continue to learn how straying away from God impacts my life. And I will continue to be amazed at how he welcomes me back with open arms each time. Some of these lessons have been painful, and I have prayed for relief or another outcome, but God has remained firm. And while some may use that as an excuse that God is cruel, I have been able to see and witness the love and the value of the bad times. My dad was a pain in the butt growing up. Between the clothes checks and the makeup checks and him insisting I would have to help pay for everything, he was a true pain. But man, it taught me. I lost my bedroom door for a solid year in high school. He told me that if I happened to slam it one more time, he was taking it off. So I slammed it one more time, and it got taken off. Every time a friend came over, I had to explain why I didn't have a bedroom door, why we had to go down the hall to the bathroom to change. I could no longer hide a messy room because there was no door to hide it behind. But to this day, I have never slammed a door again. And if he said no, he meant no. If he said I was grounded for a week, I was grounded for a week to the minute. And if I had really done something, there would be no punishment. Instead, we would go to a picnic bench, and he would tell me that I had disappointed him. When I discipline my own girls, I find myself wanting to cave so much. I never realized how much it hurts to be the disciplinarian. I very frequently reminded my dad that he was mean and he was ruining my life. But now I know how hard you have to love someone to hold them accountable. And I'm so grateful that my dad and my Heavenly Father did. My fathers are my teachers and my guides. Their lessons come in strange and mysterious ways sometimes. They have taught me that love is not easy. Mercy is not easy. Acceptance and empathy are not the easiest route to take. It's much easier to judge and shut out. Loving and liking are not the same. I may not like your choices, but I love you. I know this is supposed to be about my dad, but I remember my mom telling me many, many times, I love you, but right now I do not like you. I think it was pretty much a daily utterance between the years of 12 and 20. And my dad taught me to love what you don't like. He taught me to form connections, build relationships, give someone a chance. Because when you love someone, it's the easiest way to grow to like them. God always loves us. He may not like some of our choices, but he loves us. In our kitchen, there was a sign on our refrigerator for years that said, "Teenagers, get out now while you still know everything." We have come to a point where our girls will sometimes, we have come to a point with my girls where sometimes the answer to their questions is simply because I'm the adult and I'm your parent. And you don't have to like it and you don't have to understand it, but you'll respect it. And Drew will make comments about, well, when I move out, and I think, that's the goal. We both want that. If I've done my job well, you will move out and not come back. And as much as I do want that, I also think about how unfair it is. How much I long to hear her say, "Shoulder," like she did as a baby. Or to come over and say, "Pick you me," which is how you used to say, "Pick me up." I think about how unfair it is when I miss the moments when Jill's favorite place to sleep was on me, or when she spells her name correctly. Because for the longest time, when you asked Jill to spell her name, she said Jingo. But I love them in every stage, and I help them so that one day they may raise their own children and they can feel the love they have for their children and think, "Gosh, my mom really loved me." Because I know I often find myself thinking, "Gosh, my parents really loved me. Man, my dad really loves me." And I find myself thinking, "God, he must really love me." It's hard to love something or someone so tightly that they can fly away. But that's what love is. Holding each moment dear and helping them gain heights to soar while you tremble. My fathers are accessible and personal. I know that when I hear and I feel God, it is not the same as when others hear and feel God. My journey to love God is not a journey for everyone, and it's not the same journey. There was a time when God spoke to me very loudly and very clearly. And as I retold this story, a friend said, "I love that God knows you enough that he knew he needed to make his message loud and clear." Yes, he does. He knows me. He created me, and he loves me. My dad isn't the best dad for everyone. There are some who may think that his parenting style was a little wackadoo. They may not appreciate the way that we talk to each other, the jokes we tell each other, or the fact that we track on a calendar when the other one admits they were wrong and we were right. The father-daughter dance at my wedding took less than 2 minutes. We did the California Raisin song and Walk Like an Egyptian and then parted ways. We aren't that type that's going to dance to Butterfly Kisses. But I'll buy him a sugar daddy candy whenever I see one. And he'll get me a Diet Coke every Sunday. He'll remind me that I need to go to therapy, and I'll tell him to take his pills. He'll tell me to keep my car cleaner, and I'll tell him to take his pills. He'll say he needs my help running errands, and I'll roll my eyes and try to guess which picnic bench and what topic of conversation we'll be having today. I always make it a point to tell my students and my girls that the things you will try to cover up and change to fit in are the things that will make you stand out and be special. All the things I was self-conscious about growing up are the things that I love deeply about myself now. I'm not ashamed that I love punny jokes. I won't be pressured into watching scary movies. I can be loud, and I like sparkly things that are typically designed for 7-year-olds. A costume is always appropriate. And I will speak my truth about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I will tell my story. I love to find joy in simple things, and I will laugh about the most traumatic events in my life later on. God made me this way. He loves me this way. I am his. And I am my parents. My dad has always loved me for me. He has told me the cold, hard truth. He has guided me and protected me and let me learn my lessons. He has stood fast in his discipline when I know it had to be harder on him than it was on me, although at the time I would have disagreed. He has always loved me for me. Growing up, I had to go to church. Growing up, I hated it. I would put up a fight every Sunday. I was very vocal that I did not believe in it and that I didn't think that God was real. And my dad would say, "It's okay. This is a foundation for you. You don't have to believe it now, but it's going to be your foundation." I thought he was so dumb. But now I'm grateful because it was my foundation. It's taken me a while to get to the point where I can say, I love God. I know God is true. I know that my Heavenly Father protects me and that even in the bad times, He is there. It's taken me a long time to say I trust His plan. The things my father have said have rung true. More things than I'd probably like to admit. My dad has been my foundation. I don't know if I could ever come to the point where I could say, there is a God, I believe in Him, and I know He loves me, if it wasn't for my dad loving me first and guiding me to God. That's all. Learned from my father was his Father's Day present in 2011. I stole it from his house yesterday.